This is Phillies Postgame Live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. Ricky Batalico, Ben Davis, Ruben Amaro Jr., Tom McCarthy in a moment. I'm Michael Barkan. Unless the Phillies fly in the face of history, this series is over. The Phillies have never won a series after losing the first game, not once, 0-7. Don't blame Rob Thomson for this one. Don't blame Kevin Long. Don't blame Kyle Schwarber, and damn sure don't blame the stud, Zack Wheeler. But Turner, Harper, Castellanos, Bohm, Stott, Real Muto, Marsh, Rojas, Hoffman, Strom, Kerkering, Bank, take a hike. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. You're the NL East champions. 7 wins, 3 losses against the Mets this season, removing the Taijuan Walker start. 7-3. They watched Kyle Schwarber hit a home run to begin the game. Then Zack Wheeler pitched his butt off. It is a disgrace, Ricky Bo, to you and Ben and Ruben. But this is a real heartbreaker.
Wheeler was awesome. The Phillies ended up with 5 hits in this game. I would say 3 of those would be garbage hits. The only 2 hits that mattered were early on in the ball game, both of them by Kyle Schwarber, one of them a home run leading off the ball game. You know what? There's a lot more issues going on right now than we want to even look at. Zack Wheeler pitched 7 innings, 1 hit ball. He was spectacular. He did walk 4 guys in this game. Here's the problem. Yes. 111 pitches. Yeah, that's not something you want to put your hat on in the next game, right? That's not it. You used Hoffman, Strom, and Kerkering. 3 of your high-leverage guys in this game, and all of them came up empty. This was a very solid win for the Mets in the sense that you abused their bullpen. Wheeler threw a lot of pitches. The Phillies didn't hit. I mean, Phillies didn't hit. You want the bottom line, go take a look at that. Go blame Bryce Harper. Go blame Alec Bohm. These are the guys that are supposed to hit all season long. They did not show up. Trea Turner, nada.
Ben, it feels like Game 6, Game 7 last year, Game 8. It's just a continuation of what we saw to end the NLCS.
Yeah, we know that obviously pitching and defense will win you a championship, but if your team, if ball club doesn't outscore the opposition, you're going to lose, and that's exactly what we saw in Game 6 and 7 of the NLCS last year, and it's exactly what we saw in Game 1 of the NLDS this season. So they got to right the ship. They have to have better approach. They need to stay more in the middle of the diamond, cut back on the strikeouts. I know it's hard to see early on in that ball game. But you get out to an early lead and you just ride the coattails of Zack Wheeler, who had 30 swings and misses. 30, which is, I've never even seen it. It looks like a typo when you look at it. This guy was unbelievably remarkable this afternoon, and unfortunate the Phillies couldn't take advantage.
But what does that do for you? What did that end up doing for the Phillies? In a game where Zack Wheeler goes 7 innings, you give up 6 runs in the game.
Yeah. Well,
I thought, and by the way, I was at fault, and I'm calling myself out. I thought the bullpen would be good in this series, and I thought the bullpen would be the reason they win this series, not the reason they lose the series, and right now, I'm wrong.
Ruben, they should have pitched Zack Wheeler till his arm fell off.
Oh, please. I think Zack Wheeler threw a phenomenal baseball game. There's no question about it. They couldn't support him. This was sort of the fear that I had. This is sort of how the Mets have been. This has been the formula. They out-baseballed the Phillies today, and by that I mean they put together the at-bats in that 8th inning that were just spectacular. When you start thinking about attacking the baseball and staying in at-bats and fouling balls off and putting the ball in play and having quality at-bats, that's exactly what they did. Their bullpen beat our bullpen. And today, listen, I think that Rob Thomson did exactly what he's supposed to do, try to put the right guys in to slam the door. They just couldn't get it done. And you have to give the Mets across the board. I mean, some of the at-bats they put together were just phenomenal. And we'll go over that 8th inning at some point in the show. But I was really impressed. And this is the thing that they have been doing so well over the last several months. They put together the at-bats that are necessary. You let a team like this hang around long enough, and they're going to bite you in the rear end, and it's exactly what happened. They out-baseballed them in the last few innings, and they lost the baseball game, and now they got a long road ahead. I'm a little different. I still think that there's a chance to win this thing. I don't think it's over. I think this is a very crucial game. There's no question about it. But I do think that they still have a chance because they have the ability to bounce back.
Who
and
said
hopefully
it?
can get
Nobody
done.
says it's over. This was just not a very good blueprint, what happened tonight.
You're right.
Everything that
You're
you
right about
looked
that.
at tonight, the bullpen stunk tonight. That is the last thing I thought would happen in this ball game. Wheeler was great. Where the hell was the offense is what I want to know.
Well, the bullpen was very disappointing tonight. I would agree with you. I don't know what
And
Ben
you
and
used
Ruben
3
think.
high leverage guys.
They lose, but not to too many pitches. They'll be able to use them tomorrow.
Really? When was the last time you saw these guys go?
17
When was the
pitches.
last time you saw these guys go 2 days in a row?
Tomorrow.
All
I
right, there
guarantee
go.
you, all those guys are going to be available to pitch tomorrow. There's not going to be any question about that. They didn't throw enough. They didn't pitch enough to get you. I mean, I believe the Topper tried to use them because they're the most high leverage guys. And you got to use them. Those are your guys. They brought you to the dance. They just couldn't get it done tonight. And you got to give the Mets some credit. They put together some great at-bats in that inning.
In a few moments, we will hear from Rob Thomson. We'll hear from Zack Wheeler, who was absolutely amazing tonight against his former team. And we said during the pregame program, he was 5-5 with a 3.53 ERA in 15 career starts regular season against the Mets. This was amazing what he did. And the Phillies don't have a hit other than Kyle Schwarber through 7 innings.
Top and splitters at the bottom, and that is really the recipe how to pitch to these Phillies hitters, and they did that the entire game. They did it up in New York in the last series that they faced them, and they took advantage of it again today. And until the Phillies hitters make those adjustments, they're going to stick with that same process.
I think you mentioned something key. Until the Phillies hitters make the adjustments. That's why I mentioned Kevin Long at the beginning of the program. He's the Phillies hitting instructor. I'm sure he's been bashing his head against the wall, trying to convince these guys to not chase, to not swing at pitches outside the zone. It's not on him, is it?
No, I mean, listen, and Rob Thompson's talked about it a lot. It's about trying to make sure you put the ball in play, have good at-bats, use the middle of the field, all the things that we talk about a lot. When they were going well and having a lot of success, that's exactly what they were doing in the early part of the season. Now it just seems like they're not swinging in the zone. And I think some of the teams are exploiting that, the fact that they do swing a lot out of the zone. They have to sort of try to, and listen, hitting's a difficult thing to do. There's no question about it, but you have to sort of commit yourself to doing it. And if you don't commit to doing it, then it's going to make it tougher and tougher.
All right, Rob Thomson at the podium, post-game after game 1.
Rob, just for you, how much of a stunner is that to see your 2 most reliable relievers get hit like that in the same inning?
Yeah, first of all, Wheeler was unbelievable. We haven't seen that type of velocity out of him and stuff out of him for a while. That was as good as he can. That's as good as he gets. Yeah, it was stunning. It was to see, Hoffy and Strami give it up like that. But that's baseball. Sometimes they haven't done that since we've had them, really.
And do you think that could be because these guys haven't pitched now in a week? Some of it?
I don't think so. They pitched on Wednesday and they threw the ball fairly well. I'd have to look at the tape, but it's probably about execution and leaving some pitches in the middle of the zone. And the walk to Lindor didn't help. That's for sure.
And then after the Schwarber ball, not really a lot of hard hit balls thereafter.
Yeah.
Just what did you think of the overall offensive approach today?
Yeah, there was some chase in there tonight for sure. We got to get back in the zone. We got to start using the field. That's what I talk about all the time. And just put better bats together.
You're going to go far left against the wall, Marcus?
Rob, I think I'm correct. I think your offense, generally the same offense you had last year, has now scored 4 runs in 3 home playoff games, counting back to last year. Do you see any sort of similarities from last year, something that bled over here? Guys like Trea and Nick are still struggling in that moment.
Yeah. Again, we got to cut down on our chase. I think that's the biggest thing. We got to think, do the little things, and big things will happen. Move runners, get on base, move runners. I don't know. We had 9 or 10 base runners. That's not going to score many runs. So.
Okay, you going to go second row there, Alex, on the left?
Did you see the chase more as a result of what the Mets were doing well, Mets pitching was doing well, or was it more like the approach that the lineup was having?
The Mets threw the ball very well. I think it's kind of a combination of both, but we got to be disciplined and get back in the zone.
Okay, anything else for Rob? Okay, nothing else? All right.
Thank you.
Rob.
Rob Thomson answering questions from the media, and he's asked about last postseason to this. 4 runs scored now in 3 home playoff games. Asked about similarities to last year. He said, yeah, got to cut down on the chase. That's the biggest thing. Do the little things, and the big things happen.
Interestingly enough, I looked down, and the Phillies walked 5 times tonight. They had 8 strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
They're under the double digits that we've been looking for. They walked 5 times. They didn't hit the ball worth of garbage. I mean, that's the bottom line. As Ben was just looking up the hard hit balls. They did not hit many balls hard in this game.
Because?
Well, they were very aggressive early and often in this ballgame. And I know you can't change the spots on a leopard. That's how a lot of these guys are. That's their makeup. That's their MO. But I think at a point it's almost, okay, I get 3 strikes for a reason. And again, it's easier said than done. It's a playoff atmosphere in front of 46,000 fans over there. You want to do something great. We saw Kyle Schwarber do that to lead the ballgame off. But again, easier said than done. You think, I gotta make it happen right now. And you almost forget to tell yourself, hey, I do have 3 strikes. If it's not exactly where I want it on that first pitch, I'm going to let it ride and take my chances later on in the AB. And unfortunately, that wasn't the approach today for the Phillies. But I know it's in there because we've seen it throughout the course of the last couple seasons. We all know it's in there. It's just a matter of going up there and completing that task and using the whole field and trusting yourself and stringing hits together. Stringing hits together is how you create a rally. And it doesn't always have to be a 3-run homer. It doesn't have to be Earl Weaver baseball.
He pitched a whale of a game, and like I've said before, that's the pitcher I want out there every single time if I got to win a baseball game. But I think he was done after getting through some of that traffic in the 7th.
Yeah, as you look at his pitch count, I'm sorry, Ricky B. As you look at his pitch count, 120 pitches is his career max, and this season, 115. That was June 27th against Miami.
All right, let's go back. I mean, we broke down his pitching the last time against the Mets. A lot of 2-seamers, a lot of movement, and we all kind of looked at that movement on that 2-seamer and said, wow, that is big-time movement, it's big-time late movement. He didn't have that early in this game, which I think caused him to go to that 4-seamer more. I mean, he threw the 4-seam 49% of the time and the sinker 26%. If you look at that last game, I bet you it was probably extremely opposite of that. I mean, sometimes you have really good command of certain pitches. I thought tonight the 4-seamer was great. I thought his split finger was really good. He did a lot of things really well tonight. I mean, when you only give up 1 hit, you're doing something really, really good. And the one thing, Wheeler's winning the Cy Young, in my opinion. I think he believes he deserves it. There's no doubt in my mind. And when you look at how he could change the way he pitches in games, we looked at one game against the Mets that from a couple weeks back, and a lot of 2-seamers, a lot of late movement in on the right-handers, and then tonight he changed completely up. I mean, that tells me he knows how to make adjustments. You've heard me say this since he's gotten here. He's one of the only guys that I've seen that can make adjustments, not from inning to inning, but from out to out. He could sit out there on the mound and make his adjustments. Zack Wheeler was great. He's not the problem. Swinging the bats, there is your problem in this game.
Bullpen as well. Here's Zack Wheeler post-game about his start.
Just a tough one for the whole team. I guess that's what the start you guys had to have it come down in the late innings.
Yeah, it's a tough loss. Any loss in the playoffs is tough, but we got to come back out here tomorrow and try to win a game.
You've been around these guys for years. How confident are you that the bats will get going?
Yeah, I'm confident. We got the guys in the room to do it. We just have to go out there and do it, and I have all the confidence in the world in them to come out here tomorrow and play like they are capable of.
Overall, you're out tonight. How did you feel out there in the game and through the first 7?
Felt good. Felt locked in, and everything was working. JT called a great game for me. Defense was there when I needed them to be. So, just was, yeah.
A couple weeks ago in Milwaukee, you talked about knowing you had a good fastball early. I mean, I suppose you could tell right away you had the good one going.
Yeah. We always talk about throwing it early and just seeing how it is for the day, and it's up to JT how much and how long he wants to go with it, and I think that's basically all we threw the first inning. So just kind of veer off from that if things start going a little weird.
How are you able to reach back for more velo and also get to 111 pitches in October?
Yeah. These fans and adrenaline has a lot to do with it for sure. Anytime it's loud like that and lots at stake, it's just human nature. I feel like, you know, your body's just going to kind of take over. So I was able to do that.
You guys haven't won the game more through this whole run the last 2 years. Like, how different is this position now being not being ahead in the series?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's not where you want to be, but you know, we have a really good team, and you know, we got to come back out here, like I said, tomorrow and win a ball game.
How important is it to get out of here with a split tomorrow?
It's important. You know, it's best of 5, so first 3, and we got to win one tomorrow while we're at home, and like I said, try to get that split.
You had 30 swings and misses. I think, what was the key to getting them to chase so much?
I don't know. I was able to command a lot of my stuff for the most part. You know, I did have 4 walks, but those were me just being very careful with a 1-0 lead, and you can't make mistakes in the playoffs. So, you know, if the pitch was up and in, I was going to make sure it was up and in. I didn't want anything to leak back or anything like that. It's a lot different than the regular season, and you just have to be careful. And you know, I trust myself, so I know, you know, if I walk a guy, hopefully I can get that next guy out.
As a fellow pitcher, what have you seen from Christopher Sanchez this year as opposed to his previous years?
Yeah, he's grown a lot as a person, as a pitcher, you know, as a player, and I have all the confidence in him in the world tomorrow. He's going to go out there and compete. You know, he's a bulldog out there, and might not show, but he cares, and he's going to put us in a good chance to win tomorrow.
You went away from the fastball after having a lot of success first time through the order. Was that the pregame plan? How closely did you stick to your plan?
I mean, like I always say, you know, I kind of just throw when JT calls the game. I just try to execute what he calls, and you know, that's just credit to him. You know, it's him just mixing it up. I saw these guys not too long ago, so we got to throw in a little wrinkle here and there and just mix it up a little bit. But I'm going to stay with my strengths for the most part, and just go from there.
Thank you. A guy's eye level, especially when you're up in the count, you would think that you would try to make somebody chase like the Phillies chase, and that's exactly what the relievers did for the Mets. I would like to see them maybe expand the zone a little bit when they're way ahead in the zone. But you were right about Hoffman. He was, you know, some of those 0-2 pitches were like literally balls out of the hand, and he was missing so much.
Now, am I missing something that they're not showing inside at all? If you have an 0-2 pitch, why not show inside, then go back away?
I think that they try to go chase on breaking balls a couple of times, but Strom is one of those guys that just goes right after people. He's just going to throw strikes.
He did not look that tonight. And by the way, I've been on his side for a long period of time.
He's had a great year.
I thought he was going to have a monster playoff, and all of a sudden, it looks like he's guiding that thing in there right now. If I had something to say, I would look him right in the face and say, pound the ball through the zone now.
All right, well, he's listening, so you just
he's not
You look
listening.
at that eighth inning,
I'm sure he is.
That eighth inning, 38 pitches amongst 3 relievers for the Phillies. We just haven't been used to seeing that because the Phillies bullpen has been so dominant throughout the course of the season. And I think they'll be able to right this ship, and they'll all be able to go. I said 38 pitches divided by 3 pitchers. They're going to be okay for tomorrow. And I think they'll want to get back out there and show that yesterday was just a fluke. We'll be just fine.
So one of the things that people talk about, well, the break is going to like mess up the hitters. Well, it may have a little bit, but it's really the bullpen guys. They like to throw all the time, and they need the rhythm to throw and pitch and be on the mound a lot. So that 5-day break, that may have messed them up a little bit. Hopefully when they come back and have to pitch tomorrow, they're a little bit sharper.
I do have to say something about Bryce Harper as we go to his audio in the clubhouse. He was 1 for 2 today, and he had 2 walks. So he's on base, and the one was a double. So he's on, and he scored a run. So he's on base 3 times today. So maybe back off.
But this is why it's so important to find somebody behind him that's going to hit and give him protection. Otherwise, Mets are going to continue to pitch around him. The double he had, there was no one on base. There were 2 outs and nobody on base, and they had a lead. So, yeah, they're going to pitch to him in that situation. But if the guys behind him don't step it up, I don't know how much Bryce Harper's going to get to hit.
Yeah. Harper didn't score the 1 run.
Yeah, but would you throw him a strike?
No.
Think about it for a second. Ben's absolutely right. I mean, if you got guys behind him that aren't swinging the bat, well, Why let Harper take me out?
Well, there was a point when Alec Boehm was swinging the bat extraordinarily well, and that's why he was in the 4-hole. He was swinging, driving in runs like in droves. Right now, he's not that guy. Now Castellanos, who's been pretty darn good, now he's the guy who's asked to do it. He's the guy that's asking, being asked to do it. Hopefully, he can come through when he gets the opportunities. He got one big base hit today.
Bryce Harper, post-game in the clubhouse.
The key to the Mets pitching after the one-looking lead, what was the key for them in terms of kind of keeping them in the game and not allowing you guys to get any more runs going?
Yeah, first off, I think Will's obviously, what can you say, man? He threw the crap out of it again. Every time he goes out there, he gives us a very good chance to win, and thought he just threw the ball great. Really good to see, and obviously I feel like as an offense we wasted that start. I think it's the same thing, man. Chasing balls in the dirt. Kind of, didn't work deep into the counts like we should have. Just had to, we gotta understand what they're gonna try to do to us and flip the switch as an offense immediately.
What do you think they're trying to do to you as an offense?
No, I think obviously, they're gonna bury stuff and try to get us to chase as much as possible. And I think obviously they got really good pitching, and but we got really good hitters in here. We just got to bear down and understand that we can do it.
How much of a challenge is that going to be in a best-of-5 series? Being down 0-1, not to kind of fall into that trap again tomorrow.
Yeah, we shouldn't. It's you got to know what they're trying to do. Obviously, we got to be better.
This team has always been one that's been able to kind of move on and show some resiliency. Just how, having that experience before, just how confident is this group to, get past this one and move on to game 2.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. You can't harp on this one. You got to understand. You got to flush it. Come back tomorrow. Got Sanchi on the bump, so we're looking forward to that. Fans were great, obviously. So got I think Sevy starting tomorrow. Is that right?
Yep.
Severino. Got Sevy on the bump, so got to go out there and get him.
How much of a gut punch is it, like you say, considering how well Zach threw into the waste that?
Gut punch. It is what it is. It's baseball, right? But at the end of the day, we want to win games, and we weren't able to do that tonight. And like I said, you got to turn the page and come back going tomorrow.
How much do you think the 5 days off contributed to the at-bats today?
I don't think that has any. What's the word I'm trying to find?
Bearing.
Yeah, I don't think that has anything to do with it.
The Cubs, Red Sox, and Phillies. Look at that. Atop a list that includes Bryce Harper, Jason Worth, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and we're talking big boppers. And there's Kyle Schwarber with 12 postseason home runs as a Philly.
I don't put anything past this guy. Honestly, I don't put anything past him. Most postseason home runs of all time.
History.
That's what a list. What a list. This guy and Ruben, how fun would it be to hit a ball like that? Just once in your life? Just once in your life.
I'd have to see my batting practice.
I'd have to go to right field. I'd have to go to right field to do it.
That's 115.8 off the bat. 425 feet, which I think it went farther than that, but that's just me.
Doubt. Yeah.
But it's just watching this man swing that bat. It looks like a wiffle ball bat. Mm-hmm. It looks like the big red wiffle ball bat you had when you were a kid with it in the big. That's what it looks like. It's just like, it's incredible.
You said Phillies in 4. You said Phillies in 5. You said
I
Phillies
said 5. We're still
you said
there.
5 as well. Still there. It's going to be a battle with the New York Mets, a team that they took the season series from, but a team that has come on big time. And you look at what happened to the Mets since they played the Phillies in London. Mets have I think the second or third best record in baseball. But if you go back a little further than that, beginning of June, best record in baseball.
I got to tell you something. For those of us who watched the Mets series against Milwaukee, it was 1-0 in about the 5th inning. And I think all of us kind of agreed in the same sentiment that Phillies better score some runs now. They need to do something because this is looking eerily familiar as to how the Phillies were beating the Brewers.
Let's go to Jeff Hoffman. Jeff Hoffman failed to record an out. Here he is, clubhouse.
Ahead of all those guys. How frustrating, or what was the most frustrating part about it for you, knowing that you got ahead and had a chance to put guys away?
Just, I'm not frustrated. Just gonna do better tomorrow. Play 5 games for a reason, and show up at the same time tomorrow and get it done.
The neck thing that you dealt with earlier this week? Did you feel
That was nothing. That was not. There was no neck thing.
Did you want that still?
I would have liked it to break a little bit more. Thought I threw it in a pretty good spot, but we'll see. We'll see how he handles it tomorrow.
The slider overall, how'd you feel with it?
Fine. Yeah, I obviously, would have liked to put them away, get ahead and stay ahead, and happens. So come out and do better tomorrow.
For you personally, I mean, this team's going to need you. You're going to need Matt to win this series. How do you move on from today's performance?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to treat tomorrow for what it is, which is a one-ball game. Won't be thinking about anything other than tomorrow. Won't be, thinking about today or yesterday or 2 days ago. It's just another baseball game. We go out and we put our best foot forward and try to execute.
Every loss, of course, in the postseason is good, but when you see Zack kind of dial it up like that, does that make it, I guess, maybe sting a little bit more? Or?
Yeah, it stings. Definitely want to capitalize on an outing like that. He did everything he could to keep us ahead in that game, and obviously did an unbelievable job. So we will try to hold on to that one next time.
Your last outing in Washington wasn't real good either. I mean, I know it's a week apart, but I mean, are you feeling a little bit off in your last few outings, do you feel?
No, I'm not thinking about the regular season.
You don't get a good one.
I know it.
You might want 6 or 7 of them. Log her up, log her up, log her up, up, log her up, log her up, log her up, because you need them.
Well, we know that. Kyle Schwarber, great job. Trea Turner, no. Harper was on base 3 times. Castellanos, 1 for 4. That was late. Alec Boehm, no. Stott, no. Real Muto, no. Although he scores a run. Brandon Marsh, Johan Rojas, 0 for 2 with a walk. Cody Clemens showing Cody Clemens looked like a Met.
That was a great at bat.
That was a great at bat. You're right.
He put. Look, I feel it's incumbent upon me to state this again. The Phillies have never won a series when they've lost the first game. They're 0-7. That's the bad news. The good news is the last time that happened was San Francisco in 2010. So it's been a while. You know what I mean? Okay. Trea Turner, post-game clubhouse.
After the game.
Yeah, just went into the cage, just talk and look at some things. Just kind of get ready for tomorrow.
Overall, what do you think can be improved upon with the approach generally as hitters tonight?
I think just grind it out a little bit more. I feel like, I think they're doing a good job of making pitches, especially when they need to, and they're throwing quite a few different pitches. I think, you can't really rely on some of the at-bats that you've had in the last couple months or so. So just kind of make the adjustments, see what they're doing to you, and then don't miss that mistake pitch.
How difficult is it to see the pitches and pick them up when the game started by 5?
Yeah, I mean, you could see. I think there was 3 hits for 7 innings, and as soon as, the sun kind of went away, the bats got a lot better by both sides. So, yeah, it's part of the game.
How frustrating is it to not win the game for Wheeler, essentially, like not show up for?
Yeah, I mean, those guys, him, Nola, but I mean, we have so many good pitchers. It's really, kind of on us to score enough runs for those guys because they've always kept us in games. And Wheels was perfect tonight. He was great. And yeah, it stinks kind of losing that first one, but there's still time and get him tomorrow.
How do you approach the at-bats tomorrow with 4 o'clock start again?
I mean, same thing. You kind of got that, a little bit of practice today, but it's tough. Sometimes you see certain pitchers, sometimes matchups are better or worse. It just, you don't know what to think all the time. That you got to grind them out. Like I always say, it's not fun, but they're doing the same thing over there. So, I've played quite a few 4 o'clock postseason games in my career, and it always seems to be the case. And one team wins, so we got to find a way.
Trea, Rob said after this game that there was a little bit of chasing going on throughout the lineup. Do you feel that was an issue with you? And he was saying this at the end of last season, the same sort of thing.
Yeah, I think I chased 1 pitch my first bat, 1 in my second. I didn't chase any in my last at bat. I don't know. It's tough. My second at bat, I get a borderline pitch ball, and they call it a strike, and then
you're kind of thinking you have to swing at that and end up swinging at the curveball down. I hit the ground ball to shortstop. So hindsight's so easy, and I agree with him for sure. Obviously, not chasing is the way to win these games. We had quite a few walks today. I thought we did a good job of that there, but we got to keep passing the baton. And I had some at bats where I could have took a pitch here or there, but like I said, a lot of balls I went back and looked at for me personally, hitting the edge of the box, and it's tough to hit those pitches, and I don't know. I wish I could point to something, and take those pitches or do this or do that. But I think I made the right decisions today personally. It's more so executing, and I didn't execute well enough for me personally. But as far as the lineup, I felt like the bats were pretty good. I know Stott had a walk. Rowe had a great walk to lead off that inning and kind of get us going. We just didn't get those big hits to keep the rallies going.
What did you see in the Mets?
Trea Turner postgame, and we're joined by not just the television voice of the Philadelphia Phillies, but today the radio voice as well. Tom McCarthy called a few innings on the radio. Tom, we've dissected this game. I'm looking for something fresh that will give us some encouragement other than Zack Wheeler pitched awesome and Kyle Schwarber was fantastic. What did you see today?
Well, Michael, I think I saw both teams struggling offensively, obviously, for the first two-thirds of this ball game, and then obviously the Mets figured some things out. I mean, it's happened. They've had 4 wins in the last week where they've scored at least 4 runs in specific innings, and your hats off to them for what they did. I do know that the Phillies are 9-4 when Christopher Sanchez takes to the mound after a Phillies loss, and I think that's a really good thing. He's 5-4. They're 9-4, so that's a good thing. I just think this is a really good well-pitched baseball game today, and I think sometimes that happens. It's unfortunate it happens in Game 1 of a series, but I think you have to give credit to David Peterson and Sengai and Zack Wheeler for what they did to get this game into the latter portions of the game, and then give credit to the Mets. They had 4 two-strike base hits during the last 2 innings of their offense, and I think that says a lot to the way they approach their at-bats.
Tom, what was your takeaway of the Phillies bullpen today? I mean, 3 guys that usually are shutdown guys just didn't get the job done.
Yeah, Ricky, I was surprised. Sometimes you talk about the layoff and you talk about hitters having a layoff. Well, sometimes pitchers have a layoff. And these guys did pitch in the simulated game the other day. I mean, stuff like this does happen. I think it's, again, I said it, it's a credit to the Mets, for their 2 strike base hits. I mean, they had some really good at-bats against those guys. So, yeah, definitely surprised. There's no doubt about that. I think that these games do happen. It's accentuated a little bit more when it is Game 1. But sometimes when you talk about layoffs, we've talked so much about the hitters having layoffs, and Rob has talked about the pitchers having layoffs. I think that, maybe there's a little rust that was there. Maybe we didn't anticipate that there would be a little rust there.
Tom, another righty on the mound tomorrow for the Mets. Do you anticipate the same lineup tomorrow for Rob Thomson and the Phils?
I do, Ben. My only change might be, and again, the game time's the same. My only change might be Marsh to center and Hayes in left, whether that does anything. And this is not on Johan Rojas at all. But that would be my only thought, that there might be a change for tomorrow's lineup. And I say that only because of, maybe sliding into one. Rojas has not hit a home run since the All-Star break. His extra base hits have been very low since the All-Star break. So that would be my only thought, that would be the one change.
T-Mac, before this series started, I thought that Rob Thomson would go with Nola number 2. I do understand why he went with Sanchez. Talk about how much confidence Rob Thomson has in Sanchez and how he might respond to this.
Well, I think he has a lot of confidence in him, and I think it's funny, Ruben, you've seen it, I think we've all seen it, when you see them together and talking to each other. You can see the body language of both Christopher Sanchez and Rob Thomson when they interact with each other. And I know that may not give everybody the blessings that they would like going into this ball game, but I do think that there's an admiration and an impressiveness to the two of them. Listen, I saw him today before the ball game, and you can see the chest out. You can see the walk being high. I think he's going to be ready for this. He's got a really good opponent in Severino that they're going to go up against tomorrow. But I do think he's ready for this moment. I think if he starts to scuffle early with his changeup, he's going to keep throwing it. And I think JT will obviously go out and be able to fix whatever the issue is, if there is anything. So I'm looking forward to him taking that next step in this environment tomorrow. I mean, again, this was an amazing playoff environment on every single level. And I think it was awesome for baseball on every single level, despite the outcome. But I'm looking forward to what he does tomorrow.
Tom, Rob Thomson said too much chase. They struck out 8 times. It's not double-digit strikeouts, I guess, which is good. But when you hear that from the manager, too much chase between now and 4:08 tomorrow, how are they going to fix that?
Yep. Well, I think they're going to work, and I think it's going to start tomorrow early. I think you're going to see some early work in the cage tomorrow, and I think that's really important. And I think what you have to look at, Michael, is when Rob talks about the chase, it's not only the 8 strikeouts, but I think it's early in the count where you chase to then make soft contact. I mean, think about this. Until the 7th inning of today's ball game, collectively, Kyle Schwarber, 115 off the bat, and I know people think about analytics and they're like, boo, analytics. Kyle Schwarber, 115 off the bat, and Francisco Lindor, 103.7 off the bat. Beyond that, nobody else reached 95 miles an hour off the bat. So I think it was collective, but I think it was also, let's try to figure out how not to chase early in the count to make soft contact and make better contact, when we have the count in our favors.
All right, Thomas, we thank you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Tom
Tommy.
McCarthy.